And we're live. This is Analytical Chick. This is my first live hosting Kaiter Enless. Kaiter Enless and I are going to talk about this whole Syria situation. Now, I know a little bit about it, but I think he knows more than me. So take it away, Kaiter Enless.
Well, thank you for having me on. There was another chemical attack. Allegedly, there were pictures that have been released. They were released. What was it? It was Saturday night, so last night. And what happened was the White Helmets, which is a non-governmental organization that's ostensibly a humanitarian
Okay.
group.
Oh, excuse me.
Ostensibly a humanitarian group who goes around, helping rebuild and heal people and whatnot. So they say, put out these pictures of all these dead kids and whatnot. And they were released by the
Dead kids. I'm sorry. Sound effect.
yeah, I mean
Continue.
that's the angle they're going for. But these attacks occurred in the rebel-held town of Douma, which is near Damascus, obviously in Syria. And they say that there was a poison gas attack. Some kind of poisonous gas was used. It's from the pictures, it's clearly not sarin or something that can be transmitted through the skin because there's a lot of bodies that are being moved with bare hands. And the attack is in Douma is reported to have killed around 40 people. Now, the Syrian government, this is important, denied.
How many people did Obama kill? Oh, continue.
The Syrian government denied any kind of complicity in the attack, but obviously that hasn't been independently verified because it just occurred. And everyone in the United States that's politically engaged, particularly the neocon pundits, are rubbing their hands together and just slathering at the mouth. Like Bill Kristol is just having a field day with this. John McCain crept up out of the sewers just so he could.
God, my brain is popping out McCain.
Yeah, that guy is just. I mean, I've never seen someone who's
worse than a Democrat.
Well, I don't understand why he gets so happy at the prospect of sand people, about to be killed. It's strange to me. I don't understand why it's not like he personally is going to benefit from this, or maybe he is, but if he is,
He
I'm
probably
not aware
gets
of it.
paid off by the people that make he may get lobbying from manufacturers of military equipment.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, I don't have any evidence of that. But I mean, what's more
No,
important?
that's a rumor.
What's that?
That's just a rumor. Yeah.
Oh, is that a rumor? Because I've never heard that before.
That is a rumor that I've heard.
Well, as the kids say, that would be big if
That
true.
the
But
deep state gets paid off by Lockheed Martin and stuff, like Lockheed Martin, like
Raytheon and those companies.
and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
one of the reasons why we can't get our country out of other countries. That's the rumor.
Right. Well, the thing that's really striking about this is that it's like deja vu. And by the way, I've been seeing people that have been saying the same thing, but they say it's like deja vu all over again. That's what
Yeah, didn't
deja
we
vu
have
means.
this happen like a year ago?
What? Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, people say it's deja vu all over again. That's like a double,
I
like
mean,
that's what deja vu
I
means.
thought I didn't really know too much about it, but it pretty much sounds like it's what happened a year ago.
Oh
And
yeah, I mean it's been happening consecutively. So there was the 2013 attack in Ghouta.
right,
So that
right,
was
right. The
that
one
was
where
another
Trump
chemical attack.
told Obama to stay out of it. And
Exactly.
now, all
It's
of
when
a sudden,
he said the precise opposite, and that's what I was posting about that earlier because it's just
well,
so.
PJW actually, somebody on one of, are you on my server, my Discord server?
I didn't even know you had one, so no.
Oh, I should invite you into my Discord server. So I have two Discord servers actually. One that is specifically for creators with YouTube channels.
Okay.
With I mean, you can't just pop up a YouTube channel. You have to have, a handful of videos and, a handful of subscribers.
Uh-huh.
So like somebody with like 5 subscribers and 1 video, I would not let them into the server. I would just leave them. I have an entry channel that when you come on the servers, you only get a few channels, and I have to kind of release you into the server. I set both servers up that way through roles.
Okay.
I mean, I know you have your server too, so you know exactly what I mean when I say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But
anyway,
yeah,
somebody on one of my servers posted the Paul Joseph Watson video, which
yeah, I had
might
seen.
be subscribed to him too, but I mean, it's still good for people to post the videos because a lot of people things don't appear in people's subscription lists.
Well, I mean, I know people that just love Paul Joseph Watson. I think he's pretty goofy,
I
and
like
most.
his videos, but I'm still angry about the Canbox thing. Like, I
The
had
what?
unsubscribed him, but I think I recently resubscribed him.
I
But
don't know what that is.
the Candace Owens, the doxer.
Oh, that lady. Okay, I thought you
Yeah,
said the can docs thing, and I was like,
Candox.
that's a. Sorry,
The
I misheard you. Yeah,
Candox
yeah,
doxer.
I'm familiar with her. But anyways,
Yeah.
it's just like the all those Infowars people are uh they just get really kooky for no reason. Like every time there's a school shooting, they say that they're all crisis actors. All the kids are crisis actors, and there's never any evidence of that. And they just say it, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, then they'll pretend like other people were saying it that weren't them. It's stupid.
I mean, I don't know about no evidence. I mean, there's some weird stuff, you
Yeah,
know,
weird
but
stuff is
I
not
I
evidence
stay
of
away from
crisis
people that I
actors.
know are going to certain things that I know YouTube is gonna get a stick up their butt for. So, I know that discussing whether or not I think David Hogg is a crisis actor is the kind of
Oh no, he's not. He's not a
YouTube
crisis
get a stick
actor.
up their
He
butt
is
for. So let's not go there. Let's stick with Syria. So
oh,
anyway, back to
okay.
Syria.
Okay.
Take it away,
Well,
Kate.
back to Syria. These allegations have been going on for a very long time, for years and years and years, and it's always the same thing that happens. It's a very similar pattern. So what'll happen is there's a chemical attack somewhere in Syria. It's unknown whether or not it's rebel forces or it's Assad himself or it's some other third party. Now it and
Here's my thing. Okay, as a politically engaged person, of course, it's interesting to speculate whether or not it's Assad. But I think when push comes to shove, when it comes down to it, I just don't think that we should get involved. Because you know what happens? Even if um there's an entity asking us to get involved, this is what happens. Countries ask us, come help, or rebel groups ask us, come help, come help. Then we go help these groups, and they win, and then they turn around and they go, you guys interfered. You guys stuck your nose into our business. It's all your fault. All you Americans. So
yeah, I mean I completely
let's just stay out of it because we're gonna get blamed if we don't. If we stick our, whether it's right or wrong, if we stay out of it, then we're just gonna be like, we stayed out of it. I mean, every time we turn around, we're constantly being told to stay out of it. So we should stay out of it.
yeah, I would agree. I would agree completely. But it's just that, if uh it doesn't make any sense for him to do that, which is what I was going to say, was that every single time, and the most recent attack is the least sensible. It makes the least sense of all of them. But every time there's one of these attacks, they always say, "Well, Assad gases people," and there's never any hard evidence of
Who
that.
cares?
Well,
Who
there's
cares?
never.
I don't care if
Well,
he.
right. Okay, you might not care, but I'm just saying, like, just
It's
from
not for us to tell other countries you don't do this. Like, who? That's like.
well, I mean, I think there's
That's
something to
like
be
if I
said.
start going across the street and telling my neighbor that they can't ground their kids or something.
Well, that's a very oh come on, that's a silly comparison. So if you were standing across the street from somebody and they were torching a homeless person, you wouldn't say, "Hey, stop that." You'd just be like, "Well, it's none of my business. I better get along."
Yep.
No, you wouldn't.
Yep.
You would not do that.
Yep. I would.
I don't believe you.
Yes, I would.
But anyways, that's
Yes,
the
I
same.
would.
No, you wouldn't. But that's the
Yes,
same
I
kind of
would.
moral. Okay, what? Well, you would do that, but most people would not do that. So that's the kind of
Well,
that's
I
a
don't know.
more
I live
appropriate.
in New York City, and a lot of people in New York City would.
Okay, well, New York. I don't even believe that about New York City. Because I have. No, I've lived in cities. I used to live in one where there was homeless people all over the place. And if there was like a homeless person who was asking for change, you get tons of change. People would always come and stop them. That's not even somebody who's in all that dire of a straits, because there are
Yeah, they
communities.
get it from tourists.
Well, no. The people that live there, like people that lived right by them, just down the street, and they
I
didn't
gotta
even
try
need.
that. Ooh, I'm homeless. Give me money.
Right, but anyways, the point is that the moral equivalency of like seeing someone across the street uh in comparison to like a chemical attack of a country's leader killing its people is more equivalent to you seeing someone slaughtering a bunch of people across the street, as opposed to your neighbor throwing a cigarette butt on the ground or something. It's not really morally equivalent. But it's just every single that's all irrelevant, because there's no evidence for any of these attacks linking back to Assad or to his people. In fact, the opposite is the case. In what After one of them, I can't remember the precise date. Um, I think this was as pertains to the Ghouta attack. There was a whole um, bunch of soldiers came in and they killed this whole household of people, this little family. And there was only one survivor, and it was a young girl. And she had seen the attackers, and she said that they had long beards and like shaved heads, which is not that's not the attire that the Syrian forces. They don't have long beards, so that's very strange. So any kind of anecdotal evidence that comes out seems to point in the opposite direction of Assad or his government being responsible for them. And in this particular instance, now in this most recent attack, Trump had 4 days previously just announced that he was going to be pulling 2,000 troops, get all our troops out, pulling them out of Syria, not putting more in. And this was also coincides with the very last remnants of the rebels, being totally crushed. Assad was on the absolute verge of total victory and completely winning the war. So, when you're a leader who's on the verge of winning, who sees everything turning in his direction, everything is going absolutely according to plan. And then he just decides, you know what I better do now? I better gas my own people. That makes absolutely no sense at all.
Yeah.
I'm glad you agree. I wish more people would, though. Like the what? I was actually pleased by the response that I don't know if you've seen Nikki Haley's response. I can see if I can pull
I
it up
didn't.
here.
I mean, I saw Paul Joseph Watson's video, and that's like it.
So what is it you find appealing about Paul Joseph Watson?
He's funny because he'll be like, da 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 da, and then he'll be like, oh no, that's not right. You did that.
I
Like
don't know.
he
I've
does
just
the
never
bait
seen.
and
I've never seen the
switch
appeal
kind of
to him.
thing.
What's that?
He does like a funny like bait and switch kind of thing. Where he'll be like, it's not like, he'll be like, oh, Trump, it's not like you told Obama. Oh, wait, yes, you did. Mr. Medicare does the same thing.
Yeah, I don't. I just don't like that whole crowd of people that are constantly ironic about everything, and then when they actually say something that is, just manifestly false, or some people object to it, and then they try to say why they're wrong. They always pull the Jon Stewart defense and say, "Well, I was only joking. Can't you take a joke?" I find that really irritating, because especially when they clearly weren't joking about something. You know what
Yeah,
I'm talking about?
yeah. Hang on. Somebody on your server wants to come.
Oh, feel free to link them in if you'd like.
I'm going to. Lou. I don't know this guy, but
Lou? I don't
Lou
know Lou either.
is on your server.
Yeah, well, it's open, so anybody can join if they'd
Ulrich
like.
Kessler?
I know Kessler. He's fine.
He's AKA Lou.
Oh, okay. He must have changed his name.
It's just his nickname on Discord, so
All
I
right.
just invited him. Oh, we're down to 5 viewers.
Oh, all right.
We were
Oh,
boring! People left!
sorry. What'd you say?
I said, we must have been boring. People left.
Oh, I
Or
see.
they're going to bed because it's late. It's kind
No,
of.
it's probably just because it's late. But you know what you should do is you should link me the YouTube for this so I can actually read comments if there are any.
Um, yeah, let me send it to you. I have it open on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I have two computers. Not because I'm like fancy, but because one of them is like falling apart. So I had to get another one. But since the one that's falling apart still kind of works, I can use both of them. So
Sure, sure.
there you
Stay with us, people. We're professionals. We know what we're doing.
go. Not really, but we're learning the Syrian thing with
Well,
Kaiter.
you're learning. I actually knew how to do streams.
Yeah, it actually was way easier than I thought. I was trying to do it, and it kept telling me like I needed OBS, but that's because I was clicking that complex version instead of like using the other radio button.
Okay, here's the thing. Oh, and you should give them the link in the server.
Yeah, I sent a direct message to him
Oh, okay.
with this link.
Splendid. Yeah, but what I should probably mention this because what we were talking about before was that if there was anyone who the United States should use military power against any political entity, it should be the drug cartels. And that's my opinion. I don't know how contentious it is because like if you say you should use military force against basically anybody that's not like a bearded guy with a turban, and people don't really want to hear
Well,
about it.
if we're gonna use military force, I don't understand why we can't do anything about Islamberg, New York.
About what?
They claim we can't do anything about Islamberg, New York, because it's private property, but
I'm not familiar. What is Islamberg?
oh, you don't know?
I don't know.
It's
Enlighten me.
it's a Muslim military base in upstate New York.
I had not heard about this.
Well, yeah, it did have a mini blow up this summer. Not blow up, like blip on the radar where people made videos about it because a bunch of bikers, like motorcycle bikers from New York, they ride through it every year in the summer. So
Uh-huh.
the Red Elephants did a video when they had the ride through. I mean, some people drive their cars through, but they ride through to kind of say like, yeah, we know you guys are here. And they just like drive through with like American flags on their cars and their motorcycles and stuff.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
What do they actually do though? Like
The
this group,
Muslims or the people who ride through?
the Muslims, what are they actually doing? Because if they're not doing anything, I mean,
They
uh,
train for warfare against us.
so they have like actual training. Oh, do
Oh
they? Is that
yeah,
what they said?
absolutely. They've
Okay,
used people have used drone. They've used drone footage to like find out that this is true and verify it.
that is very interesting. I'm gonna have to
Very
definitely look into
disturbing.
that. I mean, I don't know how disturbing it is. How many people are involved in this outfit? Do you know?
I don't know, but there's
Okay.
more than one base, and like they bring people there and like train them, and then send them out to like live in places in America.
Well, they should all be deported immediately, as far as I'm concerned. That's
It's
ridiculous.
very disturbing.
But I mean, that's not something you need military force to fight against. It's just a group, unless they have thousands and thousands of people, which I doubt. That's
I
probably
mean,
something that
it's
like a SWAT team
basically
could
a
handle.
small. It's still like it's they're basically military training bases inside the United States. So
Oh yeah, I get that. Like
I find it very disturbing that our government has not done anything about this.
I think it's predictable, but it's just that's not really a military threat. It's not an exigency. You know what I
Uh,
mean? Well, it's not. It's not. I mean, it might be
I mean, when
sometime
I
in the
joined
future.
the army, I had to take an oath. I pledge blah 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 blah. Enemies, foreign and domestic.
Right. I'm not saying that they're not an enemy and that they're not a domestic threat. I'm just saying that
Not to
it's not something that
like
requires the US military to step in. Like I said, like a SWAT team could take care of this. So I agree. I'm just saying that you don't the government, if it was so inclined, does not need to expend that much that much human capital to counter this threat. Whereas the cartels are basically Mexico. Like the cartels run Mexico, specifically the Sinaloa drug cartel. They're
yeah,
massive.
well, that's the cartel that's right on the border for most of the border, especially
Correct. Yeah.
below California. So that's one of the reasons why they're the biggest threat. But there's other cartels. I think they're right below. They're either there's like one right below Texas and one below California, and then like I think they meet under like New Mexico or Arizona or whatever.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just reading some of these comments now that I have this up.
Yeah.
Nice age play.
Well,
You know what? I don't want to know. Don't even tell me
I
what that
didn't
means.
see that. We're in our.
Yeah, I'm in the chat. I have no idea what that means.
Oh no. Oh, okay.
You got some weird people watching your videos. Anyways, but yeah, I mean, if you have these people that they just want to do something with the
I
military.
don't know how to send messages in Google. Wait, can
Wait,
I?
what?
I just sent you something on Discord.
Oh, okay. I had closed it out.
Yeah.
But anyways, you have so many of these people in our government who are just obsessed with doing something with the military, like we have to show force, just like continuously. So if their heart is dead set on that,
There. It's in Jihang.
okay, bringing it up. I had closed it out. But if their heart is dead set on that, just go, go against the cartels. It's not like anybody's gonna be weeping at their loss. They're savages. They
Oh, I'm
stack.
sure they would
I
though.
don't know if you've
The
seen the
left would
pic.
be like, "You're tearing up families. The cartel members have children.
I think
What's
honestly,
wrong with going after them?
well, yeah, they're
These are
pundit. Yeah,
they impregnated 10 different women. How dare you? You're
well,
breaking up all these families."
Lisa, you're tearing me apart. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you're right about the pundits. The pundits would say that. I would agree. I don't think most people on
And
the
the thing
ground.
is, if more people thought like you and me in the United States, then it would be like
Well,
they
no,
could
no,
say
no.
whatever they
My
want and
point,
it wouldn't matter.
no, no. My
But the
point is,
problem is we have many stupid people who listen to the media, and the media is anti-American.
Well, I mean, I largely would agree with you on that, but the second I would disagree with you that most people are just stupid. I mean, that's what people say. They just like to cast that around.
Not
Like most people are just
stupid, but
idiots. Most
like
people, no. Most people are just not informed. They're not even misinformed. They're just not.
misled, misinformed. They are misinformed if they're listening to the media.
Well, most people don't even listen to the media with any kind of, regularity or dedication. I mean, perhaps it's different where you live, but where everywhere I've lived, when I asked people, just random people at cafes and whatnot, what they think about politics generally, just like I'll raise some kind of current day issue, and I just get blank stares, and they're like, "Oh, I've never heard of that." I ask people in my state who our governor is, they don't even know. And this, I mean, that's kind of like a thing that you would assume everybody should know.
Well, they do these things where they go out with like they had Water's World, and they would go out and they would just be like, who was the first president, and like see like if people like, and there'd be people who like wouldn't even know that. They ask like,
Yeah.
some really basic questions, maybe a little harder than basic, but and you'll have these people, but they'll go to like a beach, and you'll get like these girls with like perfect bods who like don't know anything. They
Well,
know how to
the perfect bod helps. I mean, I think that might make
to
everything else forgivable.
makeup. They know how to, work out, but they don't know anything about this country.
I don't. They sound great to me. They sound fine. Yeah. I
Fine is right. But
no.
I
I
mean,
mean, I totally agree. But it's just I think that there is not enough. There's too much, generally speaking, presumption of malevolence. Just everything that's related to politics. That it's just you always presume, and not you specifically, but just
well, I have this
gen.
expression. I don't know if you've ever heard me. I was talking. I think it was the other. I was talking to somebody before you, and I think I was telling him this. But there's Democrats, there's conservatives, there's defaults, and people that I would call defaults are like these people who vote Democrat but aren't very engaged politically, mostly because the Democratic Party is like they have their arms everywhere. So if you're not that engaged politically, you're and the conservatives don't push back enough.
Right. I'm not a conservative, and I don't like the Republican Party at all. I think in many respects the Republican Party is far worse than the Democratic Party. I don't know if that's your opinion, but that's long been mine. And
I did a video about this. That there's two kinds of conservatives. There's the neocon and the paleocon, and they really don't belong in the same party. But the Republican Party is full of neocons, and neocons.
Hold on, just one. We had a question, and he said, "Who are idiots?" We were referring to
most people.
She was referring to everyone, like most lay people, and I was saying that I don't think most people are just dumb. I think most people are just either misinformed or just not informed about pertinent issues that they should be, like where their taxes are going, and this whole business about a potential war in Syria. It's not something that's not going to affect people. Like even if it's only in taxes.
I was much more politically asleep. I mean, I was a conservative, but I was fairly politically asleep. And, like 3 years ago, I was like really politically asleep. But like constantly Yahoo articles, they would put out all of this pro illegal immigrant type stuff, feel sorry for them, or breaking up families, blah, 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 blah. They were pushing out all this propaganda, and I'd go to check my email. So I would go into Yahoo to check my email, and before I would click on Yahoo Mail, I would, see these clickbaity titles.
Uh-huh.
And I would open up these articles. Most of them were like leftist propaganda. And then I would go down to the comments, and like pretty much everyone agreed. with me, and people would be like, Numbers USA, Numbers USA, go to that website, and people were all over the comments going like, whoever's the best on like immigration and kicking out the illegals, we all vote for deal. Everyone in the comments, we all gotta get everybody to vote for whoever's the best on immigration. That was going on, like, I don't know, before Trump came on the scene. I don't know, maybe Trump even saw that, and that's why he, like, why he campaigned on that. But
yeah, I think probably that's why he did. There comes a certain point at which you have to stop immigration, just for practical purposes. Even from the people that want to mass import them, which is readily apparent in Europe, like where they're just literally losing control of vast sections of their country to these swarms of migrants. And one of the other things I'd like to say is that anytime there's talk about mass migration, people get very angry about the migrants that are brought over. They're just doing what they have been used to, though. So I don't have much. I have no feelings of resentment against most of them. Like there's disgusting, horrible criminals that come along in their ranks, like that creature in Europe that
well,
rape the kid in the pool, and there's that kind of stuff, grooming gangs and whatnot. But the people that are really responsible are our politicians who have just let them come into the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
just completely disregard
our politicians, but like, Trump did that speech and he was like, they're rapists, they're bringing drugs. I lived in San Antonio, Texas. And there's like anybody who's lived like Rio Grande Valley, or I mean the drugs and the gangs are really bad in the Rio Grande Valley, which I've been to the Rio Grande Valley, but I also lived in Texas for a year. And I mean, most of the time you can ignore it, but like I've told this story before where there was one day my ankle like went out on me and I tripped and fell on the sidewalk, like right outside my apartment.
We all right?
Huh?
We all right?
I mean, I momentarily had like no muscle in my ankle, so I couldn't get up. And along comes this neighbor that I wasn't really fond of. And so he offers to help me up. Like he puts out both hands. I'm thinking like he's gonna help me up, and I reach out my hands, to like grab his hands, thinking he's gonna help me up. But instead he grabbed my boobs and ran away.
What a dick.
And
who does that?
Spoke English.
And what did you say, you couldn't speak English as well?
Barely spoke English.
Okay. Well, yeah, like I said, it's different norms, so it's different behavioral patterns, and that's the other thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They keep telling us, oh no, they're just like us. We should feel. Feminists worked so hard to give women in America rights and to make like the West, women friendly. And here's my thing is I look at it as like, as a feminist, I'm like, why are we bringing in these patriarchal cultures? The left keeps saying patriarchy, and meanwhile, they are the ones trying to bring in this patriarchal anti-woman culture, the culture that grabs my boobs, the culture that grabs my rear end.
Well, yeah, I understand that. I mean, it's obviously hypocritical, but I'm not in support. I'm not in support of any kind of feminism or any kind of extreme sort of parochial patriarchal attitudes. I think that the best conception of the relationship between men and women is two halves completing a whole, as opposed to this kind of competition. Like one has to demand.
I'm not even talking about inside a relationship. Like, if I'm
on I'm not. I'm not either. I'm not either. I'm just mean in
if
general.
I'm on the bus in America with with the kinds of attitudes that we have cultivated for American men to have towards women. I shouldn't be on the bus and have my ass grabbed. I shouldn't be on the bus and have my tits grabbed. I shouldn't trip in America and have, people
Yeah,
grab
I
me.
mean that's yeah, it's rude. I would agree.
It's a little
The
more than
same thing is
to
okay.
call it
Well,
rude,
okay,
I think is
but
actually
yeah, it's rude. But I mean, the same things happen to me in clubs, and I tell the person to knock it off. And so,
except I'm not in a nightclub. I'm talking about like public places. Like I sort of not that it's okay in a nightclub, but it's more within American norms in a nightclub. It's not within American norms to be walking down the sidewalk and have a guy grab your ass.
right, but if it, I'm not really sure why you're so attached to that. I mean, yeah, it's rude. I agree, but just tell them to knock
It's
it
a little
off.
more than rude. It's sexual harassment because I've had it happen to me many times.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And honestly, like it's also happened in nightclubs. But
yeah.
I don't think it really like one of the times it happened in nightclubs, I knew it was one of two guys. And I turned around, I danced and danced in a circle, and then like I got so like my elbow was lined up to one of them and I didn't know which one had grabbed me.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
um I mean got distracted because a comment got thrown into moderation. But anyway, um if
Well, if I
I
can
was
just
at a nightclub, so I
yeah.
knew it was one of two guys. So like I'm like dancing in a circle and I like lined up so that like they were behind me and then I just laid my elbow and I didn't even know which one I was gonna hit. And then the other one was like, no, it was me, not him. And I'm like, well, you guys are friends, right? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, so you'll make sure he pays for that.
Okay, well, like yeah, I
Like,
agree.
he got you.
It's
And now
boorish
you
behavior.
know better than
Okay,
to
okay.
do that to a woman, too.
Yeah,
Don't
sure.
ever grab a.
Like most
I'll bet those two guys. I bet those guys never grabbed another woman's ass in a club.
like I said, I think
Or at
most
least they
people
thought twice.
I think most people would agree that that's rude. I can hear myself echoing. Can you?
What's that?
I could hear myself echoing. Anyways,
Oh,
it seems to have stopped. What I was going to say was that most people would agree that that is rude and you shouldn't do that. But
I mean, I wouldn't
there
even
are
call like I think that rude is not strong enough, is what I'm saying. I
okay.
think
It's like mildly
it's
molesty. I mean,
harassment.
I don't. It doesn't matter. It's not a terribly serious concern in terms of people getting literally butchered in the streets. That's
Still,
it's
it's
not equivalent is what I'm saying, but a lot of this is tied to immigration anyways. So when people kind of go on about these issues, it sort of bothers me because it's such a it's sort of like a myopic view of um, current events that are of importance. And people, and that was one of my problems that I had when I would try to speak with people who were feminists who are political activists is they get really hung up on stuff like that, like, oh, men are objectifying me. I this one guy he catcalled me, and I was traumatized for 3 days. And I'm like, well,
well, yeah, that's a little ridiculous. But I'm
obviously,
talking
yeah,
about. I mean, I've had my ass grabbed by. It's not like it happened once. It's happened quite a few times. It's I've had quite a few incidences and
well, hold on. There's a comment, and yeah, I figured people
bump
would
into
say
my
this.
legs and kind of like grope my legs, and then like when you call
Yeah,
them out on it, they'll be like, "I didn't touch you."
sure, they're also pricks, but there's a comment, and it says, "And she's a woman, and you're a man. So if it happens to you, they can't rape you like a man can rape a woman." That's generally true, and I mean, I don't know if AC's been working out recently, but I'm probably a lot stronger than she is, and I could probably defend myself better.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
not in good shape right
but what, like, grabbing a woman's behind almost never translates into, and then they raped her in public. Like, that's so exceedingly rare. It's just
now.
not
But
really an
if
issue.
we I mean,
Nobody just grabs someone's behind and then goes, "Oh, you know what I should do? I should rape her in the street now."
but here's the thing: is it's a rapey culture, and as you continue to not care about these kinds of issues, it gets worse and worse.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
didn't say no, no,
in
no.
Germany, they are raping women pretty well. They don't rape them on the street. They grab them on the street and they drag them into abandoned warehouses and rape them.
Well, listen, I never said that I don't care about these issues or that they're
And
not important.
actually, they do rape women in public too.
Okay,
Like,
who's they? Like, who's this nebulous they?
it's friendly visitors to places like Germany and
Yeah,
Sweden.
right. There's a big problem with that. Obviously, everybody recognizes that. Like, they just, like, even the places that have been most vigorously trying to cover that kind of behavior up, such as Sweden. Sweden, they've been giving out their rape kits and the rape bracelets, like, that say "Do not rape" or "Rape is bad," and just ridiculous nonsense like that.
Oh yeah, because that'll stop them.
Yeah, I was walking down the street and I
This
saw a pretty sweet, and I was gonna rape her, but then I seen she had a bracelet on, and I changed my mind. What a bunch of idiots!
exactly.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that people should have more proportionality when they're assessing these issues. Like, yeah, that's a problem, but that's, and you have to, you sort of, like, factor in the frequency of these things too. So, like, where I live, that kind of thing, that kind of behavior, it's like non-existent. It's just,
Oh, do you live in the Midwest?
yeah. So, like, that just is, it's very, very rare that that kind of thing would happen. And if it did, you'd have a bunch of guys say,
Yeah,
like,
because it
"Don't be a
mostly
dick."
happens on the coast.
Right, exactly, right, where immigration is more prevalent. So
Exactly.
there is a correlation clearly between them. Um, yeah, but I just think that when people are talking about um, uh, like, behavioral changes, it should be like the most important things, as opposed to catcalling or grabbing someone's behind and whatnot. And I don't think that should trivialize the those things as being distasteful and molesty and unpleasant. But when like Kate Steinle is a good example of, everyone's forgotten about her already. She was
I
murdered.
haven't forgotten about her.
Well, I don't mean specifically you. I just mean, like, that's in the dustbin of recent events. Like, it's not something that people are, "Oh, remember that case that happened?" And what did the guy say? He was, like, shooting seals or
Yeah,
something ridiculous.
sea
Yeah,
lions,
like,
I think. I think he said he was shooting sea lions, which is illegal. Thank you,
which
environmentalist.
is clearly not what he was doing. But I just, that's such a ridiculous defense. Whoa, I'm sorry, I was shooting sea lions. I didn't mean to murder this girl. I just thought she was a sea lion.
My understanding is he changed his story like a gazillion times. Like,
Yeah,
he
he
said,
changed
like,
it
"Oh,
several
I just
times.
found the gun, and then I opened. It was in a paper bag under a bench, and I pulled it out, and I opened the bag to see who does that anyway. Who like goes into random paper bags under benches to see what they are anyway? Not me.
Yeah, I mean, it's very weird. But we have some more
Because he was
questions.
full of it.
Yeah, obviously he was lying.
Clearly.
I think he was probably just somebody who's mentally disturbed. But
Uh,
there was a question.
I
What
think
is?
he just. I mean, he just wanted to lie to get away with it, and he probably was even advised by his lawyers, like, "Oh, just say this, just say that. Don't want to hurt the poor illegals. Those poor people. They
Well,
need us."
some of them some of them are just poor people. And that's one of that's one of the things I don't actually like about the Republican style, like the hardcore Republicans, and often some of the paleo conservatives, where they just have it like there's these just nasty people that are, they're all rapey and creepy and murderous, and I mean, that's not true, and most of them aren't. It's just that those questions should be started from principle, as opposed to this kind of like individualistic evaluation of every
You're
single
like a
grouping of
classical
people.
liberal, aren't you?
What?
You're like a classical liberal, aren't you?
Me? What? No.
What do you consider yourself? I'm a paleo conservative.
I didn't say, well, I wasn't talking about how people group themselves. I'm just talking about uh well, no, it's the opposite. What I'm talking about is the opposite of what classical liberals say. Classical liberals say that you have to evaluate you can't evaluate groups. That's what they say. Now that's dumb. You should, and you actually have to. They say you can't. Uh, and they want you to evaluate every single migrant individually. So like you can't criticize, let's say we had like the Somalians that have been coming over and spreading around places like Ohio. Like
We
there's a
just
bunch of
don't have the resources to like individually vet. And the answer to that isn't, oh, just let them all in then. We just
well,
don't
obvious.
have it. I know
Uh,
everybody, like a lot of these, people are like, oh yeah, we're rich, we're a rich country. No, we're not. Have you looked at our deficit? Who
yeah.
are who thinks? I don't know why these people think uh that we're a rich country. Like, we spend and spend and spend, but that doesn't mean we have it. We don't have it
But
because
it's not. That's a. I'm sorry to keep disagreeing with you, but it's just like that's another standard talking point of Republicans that I can't stand either. That everything becomes about economics. Everything's about the dollar. It's like they don't even care about the kinds of people that live here. It's just about, can you make money? And if you can make money, then fine. It doesn't really matter who you are or what you can do, or like what your roots are to the United States or what your values happen to be. It's just, can you make money? And do you have a
not
business?
even
What's
because
that?
um contrary to what the left is trying to sell us, these illegals, a lot of them are not working. They're giving them
I'm
or
sorry.
not
I need to interrupt. Somebody said, "What the fuck is going on?" Jesus, this shrieking.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know.
Is our hold on? I want to. Is our mics Are our mics really loud, or was that directed at one
No,
of
they're
us in
talking about
particular?
me because occasionally when I get really interested in a conversation, I also like the mic clips me because which makes it sound worse. When my volume goes up, the mic kind of clips me, and it sounds like really crappy. Like I've had it happen on a few of my videos.
I
I'm
see.
trying to work on it. It's a
Don't let the
little
chat
harder
get
to
you
work
self
on
conscious.
like when I record videos, I've been lowering my mic volume and stuff and trying to have more of an even tone while I talk. But if I get really into a topic, sometimes I can
Right.
get a little crazy there. But some people like that about my channel and other people don't. And I mean, I have some people who say like, oh, you go off on tangents too much. And then I had someone today tell me like, I like when you go off on tangents because you end up covering stuff that like nobody really talks about. So
So, what's your opinion? What do you think is better? Strictly focused streams, or ones that are more tangential? Put
I
that to the chat. What does the chat think?
I mean, for me, I think I'm more like I think most streams tend to be like go on tangents.
Mine don't. I don't let people.
So, but like a lot of the popular streams, like the skeptics who are like centrists, they go on tangents. Like what's her face? Candox was screaming and crying about how Blair White was on that stream for like 40 minutes or something like that. But they weren't talking about Candox the whole time. Like she came up
that's
about Candox and then they went on a tangent.
the absolute state of conservatism in the United States are those two. Candace Owens and Blair White. This token black who doxes people, and then you have this mentally ill, shrill harpy tranny who are both supposed to be these beacons of conservatism in the United States.
Well,
I think that's absurd.
They're not really. I mean, Blair White is basically a libertarian. She's not really a conservative. I mean, they're both on the right, but
neither of them are.
Candox is like about the money and basically spews. She's basically alt-light, where you may or may not believe what you say. You're involved in the popular conservative circles, and I mean, she's mostly concerned with being popular. Like she has this PR guy who's constantly like, well, she's popular. It's like, you're proving my point.
Well, that's the thing when you get so involved, when you begin making money off of the content that you produce online, talking about something like politics or really anything, but it's especially troubling when you talk about when people start making money off of political topics, because then they become constrained about what they can actually dissent to and actually talk about, because then they'll lose their source of income, and sometimes it's their primary source of income. So they, even if they disagree with what they had previously been saying and all the previous points that they were trying to peddle and get out to people, they can't now go back on it, because then they'll lose their house maybe, or won't be able to make their car payments and that kind of thing. Right. So that's a big problem in and of itself. And almost all of this junk stems from people just obsessing about, just about money and their online clout, and all that's worthless.
I mean, Candox, I could do a whole stream just on her, but in general, I'm not a fan of. I think that people should do YouTubing on the side of a job. I mean, I know there's some people who are gonna like break out, but YouTube made a mistake, I think, which now they're walking back. But by offering like everyone money, originally I remember a channel saying like, "Oh, we're offered partnership, so we make money off of our videos." And it should be like, if a channel gets really big, then they offer them partnership. I don't think they should be like, it should be a thing where like every little high school kid thinks that they're going to go and be a famous YouTuber and make tons of money.
I think that's a great point. I've made that point before. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like it incentivizes egomania. I really think that's what it tends to do. But I think that wouldn't be a problem if there wasn't this intensive focus just on making money itself. And anytime you have any criticism of the way that people behave in relation to capital or to capitalism, people always accuse their political opponents when they see them doing that of being a communist or something like that, which is silly. I think it's really juvenile. And I think I mentioned this to you last time we spoke, that there shouldn't be the stigma against criticizing certain ideological developments that have come out of capitalism. But whenever people do, it's like this binary is erected where you're either a communist or a capitalist, and there's just nothing else you can be except maybe a Bernie Sanders democratic socialist,
Right.
but it's just
Well,
even that is a false binary. But there was a comment from this fellow named Nano Horizon, and he and or she, I assume it's a guy from the avatar, says the terms you're using to describe people are all irrelevant. I suppose he's referring to conservative and left and right.
um,
What do you
the
think about
comment
that?
went up earlier when we were talking about, like, when I was saying that Blair White is a libertarian, not a conservative.
Oh, okay. I don't think those are relevant. I think those are pretty accurate. I mean, like libertarians call themselves libertarians, and
Right.
conservatives call themselves conservatives, and conservative
But
libertarians, and so on
I
and so
mean,
forth.
with so many people moving from, I mean, we have hordes and hordes of Americans moving from the left to the right because the left is like turning average people off
Yeah.
as they like get more and more outrageous, which I guess they think that's gonna bring people in. Well, no, that's why they're bringing in, immigrants, illegals. um but yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of people who are really, they're conservatives basically have a lot of the same ideas as libertarians, but then they add into it a lot of like morality issues. So the whole libertarians are pretty much straight up about freedom, whereas conservatives, they still want more laws, because, but they're still barely like libertarians because, we're pro freedom. So I mean, and I'd probably be more of like, I'm a conservative, but I'm probably more of a conservatarian. I'm a little bit libertarian.
Well, what I've always
Like,
said when people raise the issue of freedom is that everyone wants some degree of freedom, but it's the specific degrees of freedom that are
right,
never
like
never talked about. It's like obviously there's not
really
anybody
a
who just wants
libertarian.
no what?
Free speech is really like a libertarian thing, but conservatives are also pro free speech. So a lot of these people, like, what makes them, I mean, what makes them really and truly conservative? They're saying like, oh, this is this new thing, you can be this and this if you're conservative,
Well,
but
I
really
don't
we're
think almost
basically
any
libertarians.
well, I don't think almost any conservatives should call themselves as such because they haven't conserved really anything
Yeah,
except like
well, I mean, yeah, the alt-right.
global hegemony of like foreign war policies
Yeah,
and like
I was talking to this one guy and he was like, it's really bad that, we're pulling so much to the left. So then I said, well, here's all these stuff going on in the world, and like, pick out like 3 of your, acquaintances that and try to find an excuse to talk to them about politics and try to promote, right-wing mentality. Oh, I can't do that. Oh, it's not enough. And it's like, well, then do more. Oh, there's not enough people. Oh, we can't. That kind of defeatist attitude is like, if every conservative who was awake tried to talk to people around them, we could do this. I mean, there actually, I believe there are more of us than
so so what does that entail?
most
I'm
conservatives won't do anything.
well, I'm actually curious about what that would entail because you said we could actually do this. So what does doing this look like in your
Turn
estimation?
the country around.
Yeah, but what does that mean? What does
I
turning
mean,
the country
first we
around
have
mean?
to wake people up. We have to wake up the people who are not that politically aware
Uh-huh.
and get them to realize like what's going on, because if we had more people voting, one of the problems is we don't have people voting in primary elections.
Yeah, I get that there has to be more outreach, but
So
I just mean
then
No, I just mean
Then the
what.
candidates are neocon and a leftist.
Yeah. I just mean what is it? What direction would you like to see the country go in terms of, in a gestalt kind of way? How would you see America transitioning into the future in an optimal fashion? What does that look like to you?
I would like to see immigration locked up a little. Like, people, none of this, let everybody in garbage. I mean, we've voted repeatedly. The American people have repeatedly voted. When a candidate talks about immigration, people vote for these candidates who say that they're going to be for like immigration reform, like locked up. And then they get in office and they don't do it.
And then their opponents always pull the "we're a nation of immigrants and we have to import more people for the jobs" line, and it usually ends up being this kind of emotional blackmail where
Oh, yes.
they
Strong emotional blackmail.
immigration wouldn't be a problem if it weren't for your welfare system. No, it would still be a problem. It would just be less of a problem. I would agree. Certainly, I think the welfare system is terrible, and I think it should be
Well,
dismantled. It should be dismantled
or,
entirely. But
or there should be, like, when I was growing up, I was always told by my teachers
uh-huh.
that only citizens can get welfare,
Nope.
which is not true.
Uh-huh.
I don't think legal residents should. It's insane that legal residents should be able to get welfare. I
Oh,
mean,
it's
if we're
insane. It's
gonna
insane that
have
there is.
welfare, it should only be for citizens, and naturalized citizens should have to be like naturalized for like 5 years or something before they can be eligible.
Well, my opinion is, we should have completely net neutral immigration. I mean, they keep saying that like we have to import people from the third world over here because of like some kind of economic concern of, like, well, they're doing the jobs that Americans won't do. Well, Americans will actually do those jobs, and they just keep saying that they won't. Like, obviously they will because they do. It's
Well,
not
and
like
another
only
thing that
Jose and
bleeds a
Mario
line,
or
to the extent that
what.
that is true, to whatever extent that that is true, like my teachers growing up kept saying, like, you're smarter than that. Everybody has to go to college. Like everybody is being fed this lie in school that like college is a better life, and then
Oh,
everybody is going to college and ending up like horribly in debt. Some of these people, we have so many people with degrees, people getting degrees in nothingness. I mean, gender studies, that's not that that should not be a degree.
oh, it's not even a field of study. Like it's
Yeah,
not actually, and I don't mean like there you can anthropologically study, sexual trends and
I
that
mean,
kind of thing.
gender
Like,
studies is basically a branch of sociology merged with leftism.
don't worry, Trump will get that to stop. Trump's not going to do anything. Trump is just a puppet. Like Trump, if he was going to do anything, would have done what he said he was going to do. He's outclassed by the people that have surrounded him. He doesn't have that much power.
Well, the
Uh,
problem is also like if more Americans woke up, we could get better people in Congress. We could get better people in the Senate. I mean,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There's this comment. We're teaching people equality of outcome, not equality of opportunity. They're both wrong. They're both false. There's no such thing. But go ahead.
well, I know what Nano is talking about. That's a
So do I.
communist idea, the equity thing. Equity, equity, I think it's called, where you want equality of outcome and not opportunity. Nano Horizon, if you don't already know her, there is a YouTuber that I've worked with named Alicia Clegg, and she is also a voluntarist, and she did a video about equality of outcome versus equality of opportunity, and basically why it's a sham. So you might like that. I think she did it about a month ago. Right. Yeah, she did a video on it about a month ago. I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, Kater, you were saying?
Well, I just think that that's actually a really important point. Is this intensive focus on equality from people? Just generally, like that's always the goal is not to be good or not to be, uh, you know, efficient or any other sort of higher aspiration. It's just to be the same, to be flatly level in attribution, and that's silly. Like there, even if that was possible, which it's not possible to make everyone absolutely the same. That wouldn't be desirable. Like there are better attributions of human being than simply being equal. And it would also make a lot of things impossible. Like if everyone was equal, then like it would be pretty hard to teach anyone anything because everyone would know the same, right? And that's an extreme example, but it's just the intensive focus on equalitarianism is, I think, at the root of almost every single political theology, which most politicians utilize to disastrous effects. I think it's at the base of most of the horrible policies which have subsumed the entire country. Not just this country, but the most of the Western world, in fact.
Yeah.
Let's see. Trump has done a lot of what he. Oh, this is a comment in the chat for the people that are listening that can't see it. Trump has done a lot of what he said he was going to do. He ran on securing the border, and he is doing that.
I think now
Yeah, yeah.
they push out the comments on the replay, which they didn't used to do. They started doing that, I don't know, a couple weeks ago.
What? Wait, what started doing what?
Pushing like the comments, saving them, and they play with the replay.
Oh, that's right. They do. I forgot about that. Yeah, I think they do. But yeah, I don't know how much Trump will do to actually secure the border. I mean, I was of the opinion that because people feel, even people that are really pro Trump were sort of divided about the wall, and I was in support of it simply for symbolic purposes. I think it would be a good, like America hasn't, and this used to be characteristic of nations of the past that they would have a sort of drive toward great works that would be symbolic of the people. And it's not really something that America has done much of in recent decades. There really haven't been very many great works of architecture or art or really
Intentional.
anything of note that's come out of America that sort of epitomizes Americanism itself. And that's, I think, because largely the idea of Americanism is something that has really been sheared away. It's kind of a bad thing because people say, well, it's all about slavery and colonialism and white supremacy or whatever buzzword is popular at the time.
I mean, well, no, I mean, we own Hollywood basically. I mean, like, we own the movie industry pretty much.
What?
We pretty much own the movie industry. So,
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
okay.
But I was talking about Americanism. Like we own the. I mean, I assume you're talking about Jews. I wasn't referring to Jews. I'm just saying.
Uh, um, I'm saying like that's like an American thing.
What
I mean,
is?
it's embarrassing if you think about it, the direction that it's gone. It didn't used to be like that. Hollywood used to be like, these elegant ladies on the screen, black and white with, gloved hands and perfectly
Yeah.
coiffed dudes. But
Audrey Hepburn, that kind of look. The sort of quintessential intercontinental lady of manners and wit.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, Hollywood has fallen quite far from that tree. But
Yeah, I mean, you had mentioned Jews before, and there's a lot of people that are always saying that it's because Jews run Hollywood, that's the reason that Hollywood has taken a particular ideological direction. So is that your opinion too? Do you think there's some kind of like ethno-tribal component to their ideology, or do you think it's purely a matter of ideology?
well, Jews are. I mean, we've been streaming for about an hour, and I mean, we basically covered, the Syrian thing. So why don't we keep we can have a stream about Jews in Hollywood another day. I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay.
Don't mind, which means I wanted to end the stream. I was like trying to end the stream, so I don't want to start off on like a really in-depth topic like that, as it would be.
No, sure, yeah.
Maybe also with more people. We can
Yeah.
stream another day now that I've streamed and I know.
Right. Well, just before you end, I just want to say to everyone listening, uh, if you have any contact or any pull in your local municipalities with anyone who's involved in politics, agitate against these feckless foreign wars because
Well,
it's not
yeah,
doing anyone any favors.
yeah,
And
yeah.
thank you very much for having me on.
That's something I push, is that we have to get involved and stuff. I mean, where I live, it's very very blue, but I want to be able to wake up people around me because that would be the first step for where I'm located. But for people who are in red areas, like, lean on the politicians to get them to actually like act red and not neoconish.
Yeah, just I would settle for not insane as long as they're not acting insane. I think
Exactly.
that's pretty good.
Is insane. Hey, look at France.
Precisely.
So yeah, so that's the stream for tonight. Thank you everyone so much for stopping by my channel. I will see you all next time.